Hello and welcome to another episode of Movies with Mom. I'm your host Josh, and with me is no one. This is a new segment titled Only Child, in which I, the only child in this two-person podcast, review movies quickly and alone. The reason for this will usually be that it's a movie that interests me but doesn't interest my mom, who is less interested in summer blockbusters than the average moviegoer. For this first episode of Only Child, I'll be reviewing the long-anticipated Captain America: Civil War, the 13th picture in a long series of movies released by Marvel Studios as part of the MCU, which is, for those of you who don't know, Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie also marks the beginning of their Phase 3 series of films, which is the third arc of the overall MCU story. Now I'll be honest, I went into this movie with high expectations. Between all the great reviews it was getting from reviewers I tend to agree with, and all the hype about various appearances that could or could not be in the movie, I was brimming with anticipation. And this movie delivered. For those of you who don't know the basics of the plot, the Avengers are on a mission and something goes wrong, causing the death of some innocent people. The Avengers' involvement leads to some blame being put on them, and so the Sokovia Accords are created. The Accords would demand that superheroes will have to answer to and fight as a force for the United Nations, only taking out threats that they believe are worth the risk that comes with using people with superpowers. The Avengers can't unanimously agree on whether or not to sign the Accords and essentially hand over their powers, and a civil war between friends ensues. If you've somehow managed to stay in the dark about who decides to fight for the government and who decides to fight against it, I won't spoil it for you, but you may find that when you watch the movie, it isn't as black and white of an issue as it seems. The characters in this movie all have realistic reasoning for their actions, and you can tell a lot of care went into making this something that every type of fan can enjoy. Almost everything about this movie was perfect, with a few minor exceptions. The pacing felt a bit off. It wasn't until halfway through the movie that I felt the story really picked up, after the introduction of a certain new character to the MCU. One other minor issue I had with the movie was that it seemed to be heavily implying throughout that one specific character had a lot to apologize for, and that said character is too dangerous to be given a chance at living their own life freely. That's all fine and fair as far as plot goes, but I don't feel like that character ever truly ended their arc. Maybe they're setting up for a sequel or spin-off that'll deal with the character and their immense power, but of the current MCU movies announced, this character doesn't star in any of them, so maybe not. Anyways, this film was a lot of fun, and told a deeper and more diverse story than I think anyone expected. I give Captain America: Civil War 8.5 out of 10.